Today's bag of popcorn is brought to you by AutoApprove. AutoApprove makes refinancing your auto loan easy so that you can keep more of your hard-earned money. Learn more at autoapprove.com/popcorn. Hey, this is Chris. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to Popcorn Finance, the show where we discuss finance in about the time it takes to make a bag of popcorn. So I'm sure all of us have spent, the first several months of this year doing our taxes, finding paperwork to do our taxes, stressing out about our taxes. So when April 15th hits, you're like, okay, it's all over now. I'm done. I can never think about this again. But I think we all know it's going to come back around next year. We're going to have to do this again. And so I want to talk about some things that we should do to prep all year long to be ready for tax season. So to join me, I'm happy to have back on again, Keila Hill Trawick. You were on before. We talked about, I forgot what we talked about all kinds of tax issues. And I don't know if that was last year, 2 years ago, because time
all
is nothing anymore.
All the years are the same.
All years are the same. But I'm really happy to have you back on the show again. So appreciate you joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Always happy to be here.
Now that tax season's over, what do we need to be doing to be prepared for next year, as it will inevitably come back around?
Yeah, so the first thing to know is that tax season is year round. And I think that we say that in a way that's not always really clear. So I want to give kind of a really brief overview of how taxes work. So when you work for somebody, when you have a W-2 job, every time you get paid, they take some money out of your check and pay the IRS or pay the state. And if you work for yourself, you are paying estimated taxes. IRS doesn't know how much money you've made throughout the year. So they're kind of working on the honor system that you're going to give them what you owe them. And all of this is estimates. All of this is you prepaying towards what you think your tax burden is going to be. So they're taking money out of your check, you're making estimated payments. At tax season, you want to really think of your tax return as settling up. So you've put your final numbers in. This is what I ended up making from my job, or this is what I ended up making from my business. Total all of that up, tax system does its magic and says, cool, you owe us $10,000. The next line is basically like, wait, I had already paid you some of this. Y'all took some of this out of my check every time I got paid, and I made estimated payments. And so if you overpaid, you get a refund. If you didn't pay enough, you owe the difference. And the reason that I give that explanation as to like how you can prepare for next year is a lot of times that feels like a surprise because we haven't been paying attention throughout the year. Use the paycheck calculator, paycheck checkup from the IRS to kind of make sure that they're taking enough out of your check throughout the year. So if you can talk to a tax preparer or an accountant, get a check-in point mid-year, end of year. Just talk to somebody, even if they're not preparing your taxes, to get a sense of whether you've saved enough. It'll stop you from being completely surprised and stressed at tax season. At the end of the day, you're going to owe what you owe. And so what you're hoping is that you have given your job, your payroll system enough information for them to take out what they are supposed to every check. But it's a guess. Like they're taking your information and saying, okay, based on what you told us, we think we should give them about $200 per check. But if you check in mid-year and it's like, oh, but I'm going to owe if this is all you take out, you have the opportunity to contribute some more so that you're not surprised.
I ran payroll departments for 7 years. It's crazy to say. And I'll tell you this, between payroll and HR, most people don't really know how your taxes are being calculated. So when you go in there and give your HR department that new W-4 form, or your payroll department, they're not double checking to make sure that this is the right amount for you. They don't know. They're just like, no, sure. Thank you for filling this out and signing it in full. You can leave now.
No. And I think the other thing to know is that you don't know either. And so at the end of the day, again, you're going to owe what you owe. If you make this much money, this is how much your tax is going to be. And your goal is just to get as close to that number as you possibly can. But this idea that you can kind of guess of like, if I just give you this W-4, y'all just take the right. They don't know if you have a house. They don't know if you have kids. They don't have, you got investments that are going to cost money. They don't know any of that. They're just like, with this job and the information that you gave us, we think that this is how much we should be taking out every time you get paid.
A lot of us are doing the best we can with the resources that we've got. When I was struggling back in the day with debt, I was looking for every dollar I could possibly find just to get in a better spot financially. One of the things that I did was refinance my auto loan. And that's why this week's bag of popcorn is brought to you by AutoApprove. Auto Approve is an online service that makes vehicle refinancing easier and faster. Auto Approve offers auto and motorcycle refinancing and lease purchasing. They make it easy for vehicle owners to find and compare their best available rates, and they do this by connecting them to a network of top credit unions, banks, and finance companies to help lower your rate and your payment. In 2021, Auto Approve customers saved on average $1,692 per year. With an extra $1,600+ I could have paid down my debt faster back in the day, or right now I could buy that TV that I've had my eye on for a while now. Auto Approve makes it possible to cut your expenses through refinancing your auto loan. So to find out how much you could save, get your free quote at autoapprove.com/popcorn. Again, that's autoapprove.com/popcorn, or just click the link in the show notes. Get more money for what matters most with Auto Approve. Is there anything else we should look out for? So, all right, we got this kind of like housekeeping of looking at make sure we're having the right amount withheld. Is there anything else that we can do to kind of prep and be a little more prepared for next year?
I would say most of the stress that comes with taxes is being not organized. So to the extent that like every time you get a tax form, put it in an online folder, whether that's Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever your online storage platform is, get a tax folder and just drop everything in there. Anytime you get something from the IRS, whether it's a letter or a stimulus payment or something like that, drop it in there. Most people that get like riled up about taxes feel like they're coming from a place of like, what do you need from me? What am I even supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Almost everything that individuals have to deal with, somebody sent you a form on. If you contributed or withdrew from a retirement account, they sent you a form. If you got paid, they sent you a form. So all of the forms that you get, pulling those together will give your tax preparer a sense of what they should be looking for as part of their preparation for you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. No, I think that'll be really helpful because it's not too much. I like that's not too many things you have to do. It's just a little bit of organization, a little bit of keeping track of things. That way you're not scrambling. In addition to you just being extremely knowledgeable about all this stuff, you're the managing director at Little Fish Accounting. If people want to connect with you and learn more, where should they go?
Yeah, absolutely. You can head to our website to find out about our services at littlefishaccounting.com. We've got one-on-one services and we've got free things for you like a blog. We have a podcast called Fish Food where you can go listen to bite-sized accounting advice anywhere that you listen to this podcast or any others. And then you can also check out our Instagram where we give you tips and tricks on your accounting and finances at Little Fish Accounting.
Right. And I want to give an additional shout out to Fish Food. I was listening to that podcast because I was trying to figure out some stuff tax wise. And I was like, I'm like all confused. And I listened to probably like 10 episodes back to back. And it helped out so much because accounting, which is extremely boring. I'm sorry. It's an extremely boring topic. No insult to you. You didn't create accounting, but you made it a lot easier to comprehend and take in. So I'll definitely make sure I put links to all that in the show notes if anyone wants to check that out.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that it's helpful. That's what it's there for. And I hope to continue doing it for the very near future.
Thanks again. It's so great having you on as always. And, we'll definitely be back again.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me here for another episode. And I'll be back later this week along with Keila for another Unpopped Kernel session. And if you didn't know, this episode isn't just a special new thing you see here on the podcast feed. It also lives on YouTube as well in the special video version. So if you want to see us, what we're doing, putting these conversations together, come join me over there. There's a link in the show notes where you can find the YouTube channel, or you can just go to youtube.com/popcornfinance and you'll find me there. Also, if you're like, hey, what? There's another episode? That means you might not be subscribed to the podcast. So in your favorite podcast app, whether it's Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, make sure you either subscribe or follow, depending on the app you're in. And that way you'll get each episode automatically when it's published. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me over on Instagram. Just look for Popcorn Finance Podcast and you'll find me there. And last but not least, this week's kernel is a little bit different. This is a special one here. I'm giving this week's kernel to my niece who is turning 4 months old. If you didn't know, I became an uncle. Probably the best thing my brother's ever done for me. So I appreciate it. I know, him and his wife, they're happy, but really this is for me. I'm very excited to have this new addition to our family. So that's why I'm giving her the kernel. As always, I appreciate you all joining me here for another bag of popcorn. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, boy, keep it poppin' like Mary Poppins.